From the PEP Radio Newsroom, this is the Hourly News Blast. The Trump administration has expanded good moral character requirement for immigrants. The Trump administration has issued a new directive by the Department of Homeland Security that orders U.S. Customs and Immigration Services officers to go far beyond statutory requirements and judge applicants for entry and naturalization based on the Trump administration's new holistic definition of ethical standards and expectations and good moral character. Depending on how good moral character is judged, activists fear that LGBTQ+ immigrants may be denied naturalization. The guidance is a throwback to a period when LGBTQ+ visitors and immigrants were routinely deemed psychopathic personalities and barred from entry to the United States as immoral aliens. The authors of the revised guidance are behind the draconian immigration restrictions proposed in Project 2025, the Christian Nationalist Heritage Foundation's blueprint for the second Trump administration. That same document says that straight marriage is best for children and condones discrimination against LGBTQ+ people based on a religious freedom to do so. Wayne Bazin, executive director of Truth Wins Out, the civil liberties advocacy group, says, "Our fear stems from the incontrovertible fact that the United States Custom and Immigration Policy Memo does not exist in isolation. It is part of a larger Project 2025 agenda. Many of the authors of Project 2025 are high-ranking Trump administration veterans, now back in power, writing the playbook for policies like this one. They have made clear that their goal is to resurrect outdated notions of morality and enforce them on society, an approach that has historically been wielded as a weapon against sexual and gender minorities," Bazin said following the release of the new policy on Friday. So what is good moral character? Well, for decades, immigration officials interpreted good moral character to mean that a candidate for naturalization hasn't committed certain offenses, criminal offenses. But now the administration wants immigration officials to take a more holistic approach to assessing good moral character and consider additional factors. The potential Trojan horses involved target the LGBTQ+ community in the new guidance, and they include a directive to scrutinize family responsibilities of candidates for naturalization. The Christian nationalist ideology underpinning 2025, Project 2025 that is, and espoused by its authors, doesn't recognize the legitimacy of LGBTQ+ families, including their legal right to marry or adopt children. That's despite the Obergefell v. Hodges ruling, and despite the Respect for Marriage Act, and despite the full faith and credit clause of the United States Constitution. But it doesn't matter, because President Trump doesn't follow the Constitution anyway. An officer influenced by the same far-right bullshit ideology could deem a married same-sex couple raising children in conflict with their own subjective interpretation of good moral character. Remember, we recently covered 7, 8 maybe different pastors and other adults in Texas that portrayed themselves as having good moral character, and yet they're all awaiting trial or in jail already for committing sexual acts against minors. Oof. Officers are also ordered to take severe violations of religious freedom into account in their evaluations. That means a gay immigrant who protested a local church's anti-LGBTQ+ views could be labeled as violating the administration's interpretation of religious freedom that condones discrimination against gay people. And at least 2 Supreme Court justices, Alito and Justice Ruckus, believe that gay people having the right to marry is a violation of Christians' religious freedom. How? They never get around to explaining how. While the directives may sound neutral or even benign on their own, Bazin said, in reality they are invitations to discrimination, giving bigoted adjudicators free rein to deny LGBTQ+ people citizenship for reasons that have absolutely nothing to do with the law and everything to do with prejudice. Once again, LGBTQ immigrants risk being judged not by the law, but by the prejudices of individual officers empowered to play moral arbiter, Bazin said. That is fundamentally un-American and contradicts the principle of equal protection under the law. That's our news blast for this hour. If you are watching our news videos on YouTube and you like the new format we're using, please comment to let us know. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. You can now listen to PEP Radio on Roku, the PEP Radio page at paequality.com, the Live 365 app, and on Alexa. Up next, we have the Meadville area weather forecast here on PEP Radio.